Hello, hello, hello. My name is Samantha Francis, FemmePOWER educator and your favorite no-nonsense mentor. Today, we are going to talk about that uncomfortable space between. Now, I'm not talking about anything physically. I am talking more about the uncomfortable emotional space between. Now, what does this mean? What I'm speaking about today is, let me think of an example. Let's say you've ended a relationship and you know you've ended it for the right reasons and everything. We've all been there at some point, right? And now you're in that place where life feels like it's gone very still. So you're in that uncomfortable middle part. You know that on the other end of it, at some point in the near future, things are going to get better. But you're in the uncomfortable middle part. So what do you do when you're in that space that feels uncomfortable, the space where everything comes out, right? So the part of you that comes out that's like, oh, should I go back? Did I make the right decision? You know, should I reach out? Should I not? Like, oh my God, I'm feeling really lonely now. I miss him. I miss her. Like all of this stuff comes up. And it's really uncomfortable. I call it the uncomfortable middle part, because what it actually is an invitation for you to just be still. Because what's happening here is when we move away from something, we're releasing a lot energetically. And what people often think is, right, well, I've ended this. I'm now going to jump into something else. Or this is all going to come in now because I've just ended this last week. So this is all going to kick off now this week. No, that's not what happens for a lot of people. There's usually, and again, this is in my experience with myself and with clients as well, what usually happens is there is a quiet part. And for a lot of people, quietness equates to uncomfortableness, because what comes up in the quietness can often be a lot of our stuff. Our stuff being our vulnerability, our real raw emotion. So let's again use the example of you've ended a relationship because you know it was the right thing to do, but just because it's the right thing to do doesn't necessarily mean it's not painful. What can come up in that quiet, uncomfortable middle part is a lot of the pain. And as human beings, we don't want to sit with it because it hurts. Who wants to actually sit in pain? But what I often tell my clients is that is where the growth is. That amazing middle part is what's going to like throw you into the next chapter of your world that will be ultimately better. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an invitation. Not everybody navigates the middle parts. I really should think of actually a better name for it, really, but I'll think about that another time. Not everybody navigates the middle part with ease. So a lot of us, and I've been there myself, I've done it, we go backwards. We go back to that bad relationship. We go back to that rubbish job. We go backwards because it's safe. It's what we know, because the unknown is scary. And that's what the middle part is. It's uncomfortable because you're now in the unknown. You're now in that. And not only are you in the unknown, you're then forced to sit in the quiet with yourself. And a lot of people feel like they're being tested in that middle part. You know, oh, you know, I hear it a lot. It's like, yeah, I'm being tested, you know, maybe I made the wrong, they second guess themselves. They say, maybe I made the wrong decision, you know, maybe I did that in haste. And the truth of the matter is 9 times out of 10, they didn't. They made an informed decision, because the decision didn't come overnight. It was a build-up leading to an ultimate decision. But the middle part will have you thinking otherwise, because it will bring up everything. It brings up your vulnerability. It brings up your rawness. It brings up the parts of you, the wounded parts of you that need addressing. But again, here's the game changer. It's about what you do with it. You can push it all down. You can suppress it all. You can choose to go backwards to what is familiar and feels safe, even if it makes you unhappy. Or you can say, right, I'm seeing stuff coming up here. I'm feeling stuff coming up here. And as uncomfortable as it is, I know that this is an invitation to do some work. And my work is not to go and do anything externally, as in text the ex or beg for my job back. That's not what the work is. I've made an informed decision. And now what naturally needs to happen is all of the stuff that needs to now be released from within me to also be released. So where you've released things externally, internally, there has to be a release too. And that's all that tricky, uncomfortable middle part is, because you don't know what's going to come up. And then when it does come up, it's like, oh my God, I thought I dealt with this, or why is this coming up, or where does this come from? But you deal with it, or you're given an invitation to, not everybody does. So if you address the stuff that comes up in that middle process, actually, that middle uncomfortable part doesn't feel so quiet anymore. And it paves the way energetically for a much happier and clearer pathway on your next chapter. And it's the same thing that people experience when they're trying to consciously manifest. By the way, we manifest all the time. Like, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions are always creating something. Okay, so let's just clarify that as well. But when they're consciously manifesting, as in, I want to manifest this, what they will do is, right, I've done this, this, and this means it's going to pop next week, or it's about to happen. And sometimes that's just not the case. Sometimes there has to be a period of frequency adjustment before you step into that pathway of getting what it is you want to manifest. So what I'm saying is that uncomfortable period, what do you do in that period? Well, you can reach out for support. You can speak to a friend. You can speak to your mentor. You can journal. You can go out and get some fresh air. You can move your body as well. The body is a fantastic tool to use when you're wanting to support yourself emotionally as well. You can bring in more joy, more pleasure. Something I tell my clients every day is like, you should at least be having between 10 to 30 minutes of pleasure every day. And I don't care if you're a mom, if you're not a mom, whatever, you should be having that, because it is replenishment and it's healing for your soul as well. But one thing I always say is, you don't run from the fire. It can feel like fire. It can feel like, oh my God, I'm in the fire right now. Like, I thought the hardest part was walking away from this, and now I'm in this. Things are supposed to be getting better. They are getting better. They are. But one thing I tell my clients is, we don't run from the fire. We run into the fire, because actually what's on the other side of that is exactly what it is you want. And there needn't be a pressure or a feeling of needing things to come in really quickly when and how we want it to, because again, we want to look back at what the intention is behind that, and is it coming from a space of desperation and neediness and lack, or is it coming from a space of, yeah, I really want this, excited, desire? They're two very different frequencies. But when we go into what feels like the fire, I promise you will come out a much better version of yourself, because you'd have upgraded energetically. You'd have released a lot of the energy that you've been carrying with you that helped you stay in that previous position or situation. And your emotional intelligence will have gone through the roof as well, because you could have learned how to hold space for yourself, sit with yourself, feel into yourself, and essentially speed up the process of reaching your next chapter. So this video is a message for you if you are feeling like you are in that sticky, uncomfortable moment. That was very articulate of me, wasn't it? If you are in that, know that it is completely normal, and know that you are being invited to actually do the inner work to release, so that you don't repeat patterns again. Because, like I say all the time, it's easier to get rid of the external and change the external than it is for the internal. But you can change the external as often as you like. If what you still have is playing out in you that's got you into previous positions or situations, and you're not doing anything about that, your next chapter may well be a repetition of the previous one. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So learn to sit with yourself and face your stuff. Okay. I hope I've helped you. I hope you've had some tips there to support you. You are not alone. Please don't ever feel that way. I know what it feels like to not have any friends or family or people that I can turn to for support. So if you do feel you need some extra support or have any questions, then you know my inbox is always open. You can get hold of me on Facebook, or you can contact me through my website. And if I can help you, I promise you I will be here to support you. So I hope that helps, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye bye.